Okay, so hey guys, welcome back to another predictions video. And in today's video, I'm predicting the Tszyu versus Ocampo fight. And so if you are new around here and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you do need like the video, and let's get straight into it. So going into this fight, Tszyu is 22-0 with 16 KOs, and Ocampo is 35-2 with 23 KOs. This fight is for the WBO interim super welterweight title. Tszyu's last fight was a win via TKO in round 9 versus Harrison, and Ocampo's last fight was a win via TKO in round 5 versus Castor. Ocampo's losses have come against Fundora in 2022 and Spence Jr. in 2018. Two very high level opponents there, and of course him moving, I believe, up in weight there. Tszyu is seemingly wanting to stay active in aims to his world title fight, which I feel like everybody agrees that he very much deserves and should have, and it's good to see that he isn't just going for that fight though, and is wanting to remain active, because whenever that fight becomes available, then he's there straight away, no excuses, ready to take that fight. And that's something you don't always see, and is something that is nice to see. And like I said, he's taking on all challenges at the moment. This fight is in Tszyu's home country of Australia, and he always seems to be fighting around there. So for the moment, I feel like unless he gets a massive fight, then he's just going to keep fighting there. And I don't blame him, because he is bringing big nights to Australia and having these world title fights, and it's something which you want to see and something which you haven't really seen loads of as of recent. But somebody else on this card, who is Sam Goodman versus Aleem for the IBF World Title Eliminator, might be bringing other big nights for Australia. And like I mentioned, that fight is going down. Goodman, we've had it on the channel. It was a pleasure to speak to him. It's a very tough matchup he's got here. Toughest of, I believe, possibly both of their careers. I would definitely say Goodman, to be completely honest. But Goodman's also been active and wanting to come in there and create and make some noise in his home country as well. And I'm going to say that Goodman will win via unanimous decision. I don't think he will quite get the stoppage, but I think he will win via unanimous decision and hopefully get his world title shot after that. I know that's not always how eliminators work, but I feel like if they're called an eliminator, they should be the eliminator and should be the next opponent. So hopefully it is. But back to the Tszyu Ocampo fight. Tszyu, as a fighter, of course, he carries power. There's arguments of if he's even in his prime yet. He counters well, got great body work, he's accurate, times well, changes levels, controlled, doesn't force a fight, gains momentum, patient, doesn't have to control the tempo to be able to win, capitalizes on opportunities, and I think overall the way that he is accurate and the way he does time and the shot selection he does have and the fact that he does improve throughout the fight is always going to be something that is going to be something you would want to see in a fighter. And the fact that he doesn't have to be, like I said, controlling the tempo, and he can just let the other opponent kind of control the tempo, it's something you don't always see, and it's a good thing to have, and it's something which, like I say, you don't see that often. And so if he can do that, then to an extent he can just rely on his accuracy, and as long as he is throwing and not like being too low on tempo, then he's going to find success always. And like it is just immense accuracy, and on any opportunities taking them and countering well. His negatives, I suppose, he may be overlooking this fight as well, waiting for that world championship fight. He can be a little bit flat-footed at times. I would say also, as well as Ocampo, to be honest. He may be drawn into opponents' fights, and that, like I said, links to the fact that he doesn't have to control the tempo. Also links to the fact that he can get control. He can be drawn into the opponent's fight, which isn't always the best. But like I said, if you're that accurate, then as long as you're not being stupid or being reckless, then it's not to an extent the worst. I wouldn't really encourage it for anybody though, but it's not the extent the worst. He's been dropped, so there's been question marks about his chin in the past, and Campo's a big puncher in his own right, so if there is something there, maybe. And he does have to go to the body. He doesn't always utilise his body work, but he does have very good body work and does have to utilise that. But Ocampo is a fighter. He's fought at this level for a long time. I would say he is the more experienced fighter and does know his way around the game a little bit more. He's confident as well, puts on the pressure, will want a war, pop in his shots, of course, imposes his size, has immense heart, will stand and bang pretty much all night if he wants to, and he probably will. He finds angles well, he's a tough fighter, and like I said, it's not going to be an easy fight for Tszyu, and you can't be overlooking him, because to be able to come in there and want a war and put on the pressure all night, and it's difficult and it's tiring, and you have to be well conditioned to be able to do it. And I just don't know if I think early on it might find more success for Ocampo. In the later rounds, as Tszyu's improving, then he might struggle more, because Ocampo's maybe doing the same things over and over again, become a little bit predictable, not entirely, or if he's slowing down himself, not entirely sure if that's going to be the case or not. But it's just going to be interesting to see if Tszyu maybe will get caught out. I don't know for certain, but Ocampo in his own right, I don't know if he's going to get stopped because of how tough he is. And since moving up in weight, he's fought some tough opponents, including Fundora, and hasn't been stopped, and so that will of course play a factor. Ocampo is the furthest away he's fought, so be interesting to see if maybe that plays any kind of factor. I don't know if it will, but it might do. Of course, he, like I said, he can be flat-footed himself, and so they probably will end up fighting a war here, which I don't know if it is the best for Tszyu, but I don't know. He can struggle at range a bit, and like I said, will probably want it to be on the inside, and he can be a little bit more one-dimensional than Tszyu. I don't know why that was difficult to say, but that means that, like I said, he might become more predictable. Tszyu is the favourite for this fight, and I think that Tszyu will win via unanimous decision. I think, like I said, it will probably be maybe a little bit tougher in the earlier rounds, but if he can continue to land and continue to improve throughout the fight and not force the fight, which he doesn't normally do, and maybe avoid a little bit of being drawn into too much of a war, then I think he will find his success. But like I said, I don't think Ocampo will be stopped, because in his own right he does have immense heart and he is tough. And then hopefully he'll go on to fight Charlo. That's what everybody wants. I feel like that's what he deserves, and I think everybody thinks the same. But if that doesn't happen for whatever reason, other contenders, I feel like he should be fighting the best of the best at that point. Mendoza is another fighter. That's the only person that could possibly realistically stop the Charlo fight from happening when Charlo returns. Or Kurbanov, another very tough fight in his own right. I don't really know what Tszyu, his contract's like with who he's with in the moment with Australian boxing, and so if he can be signed by Matchroom or anything like that, because then maybe the more big fights will happen, or PBC or Top Rank or whatever. But so I don't know, but that means that possibly a Kurbanov fight could be an easy one to make if that does want to happen. But either way, that is it for today's video. Hope you did enjoy. Like if you like this, subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching.